This is the resource page for the Unit 2 exam. So I will be covering the Level 3 problems for each objective. And this is what you'll be practicing in your Delta Math assignment and the type of questions that will be on the test. For 2.1, we're graphing a line. So we have equations that are given in slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. Then you could also see the equation in standard form, ax plus by equals c. So you need to be able to graph a line whether it's given in slope-intercept form or in standard form. And then the third type of line you're going to see is a horizontal or vertical line. And you have a little key here. You're going to remember these acronyms. HOI, which stands for horizontal line with a zero slope that crosses the y-axis. So you might see an equation that says y equals 6. So there is no x in that equation, so you're going to know that that is a horizontal line that crosses the y-axis at 6. VUX stands for vertical line with an undefined slope that crosses the x-axis. So you might see x equals 4, and that's going to be a vertical line. And you'll know that because there's no y in that equation. It starts with x. X equals 4, and that would cross the x-axis at 4. So let's look at number 1. Identify the slope and y-intercept of the equation, then draw the graph. So we're looking at an equation that is in slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. The slope is m. Oops. So m comes right before the x, so we know that m is 5, or rise over run would be 5 over 1. If the top number is positive, you're going to have a rise going up. If it was negative, you would be going down, and the run is always going to move to the right. B is your y-intercept. Your y-intercept is -3, so you're going to find on the y-axis -3. That's where your first point goes. Now using your rise over run, we're going to move up 5 and over 1 to the right. Up 5, 1 to the right. So you could do that as many times as you want all the way across the graph. Once you have 2 or 3 points plotted, you can draw your line. Number 2, convert the equation to slope-intercept form. So you need to be able to change the equation from ax plus by equals c to slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. So we want to get the y in this equation on one side of the equal sign all by itself. So I'm going to subtract 5x and subtract 5x. Now I have 3y equals -5x plus 18. And then I can divide everything by 3. So now I have y equals m, you'll leave as a fraction because that gives you your rise over run, 5 over 3x plus 6. And now that you have the equation in slope-intercept form, you would be able to graph the line. Objective 2.2, we're going to be writing the equation of a line given 2 points on the line. So these are the 2 formulas you're going to need: the slope formula to calculate what m is, and the point slope formula to find the full equation of the line. First, you're going to calculate slope. We'll label this x1, x2, y1, y2. Oops. So m is going to be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 0 minus y1 is 2. x2 is 8 minus 6. So this is now negative 2 over 2. And if you put that in your calculator, you'll end up getting negative 1. So m equals negative 1. Now that I know m, I'm going to go back to my point slope formula. And I'll put in m in the equation there, and I'm going to also take one of these points and label it hk. You can pick either point to label it hk. Now I'll use the point slope formula, plugging in hk and m. Y equals m, which is negative 1, and then x minus h is 6, plus 2, which is k. Now I just simplify this equation. So I'm going to distribute the negative 1. So this will be negative 1x plus 6. I'm multiplying, and then I'll bring down plus 2. And then last thing is to combine the like terms. So y equals negative 1x plus 8. Okay. Objective 2.3, we are going to be solving systems algebraically. You need to be able to solve a system using substitution and solve a system using elimination. So with substitution, you're going to substitute the equation with an isolated variable into the other equation. Substitute, another word would be replace. So I have y equals 5x, and then I have y equals 3x plus 18. If y equals 5x, then I can substitute 5x for y. So I'll rewrite my equation as 5x equals 3x plus 18. Now I solve for x. Subtract 3x, and I end up with 2x equals 18. Divide by 2, x equals 9. So now that I know that x equals 9, I can substitute it back into my original equation. If I know that this x right here is 9, then I can write that y equals 5 times 9. And 5 times 9 is 45. So the solution to this system, where these two lines would intersect on a graph, is 9, 45. Remember that you want it in the form x, y, an ordered pair. Solving a system using elimination, you'll have two equations in standard form, and you're going to add the two equations together to eliminate one variable. So if I add these two equations together, 4x minus 4x is 0. Those cancel out. Then I'm going to add negative 1y and negative 6y. So this is negative 7y. And negative 1 plus negative 34 is negative 35. Solve for y. Divide by negative 7. Y equals positive 5. Now that I know y, I can go back and substitute it here. Y is 5. So 4x minus 1 times 5 equals negative 1. So 4x minus 5, because I've multiplied these now, equals negative 1. Add 5. 4x equals 4. Divide by 4. X equals 1. So I know that my ordered pair for this problem is 1, 5. Objective 2.4, we graph inequalities. So I have an inequality here. In standard form, I need to convert it to slope-intercept form so I can graph this. So I want it to be y on one side and x on the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3x. Y is less than or equal to negative 3x minus 5. Now that I have this, I have, I can find m. Oops. M is negative 3 or negative 3 over 1 for my rise over run. And b is negative 5. That's my y-intercept. So negative 5 is my starting point on the y-axis. I have a negative slope, so I'm moving down and to the right. So down 3 and 1 to the right. And you can actually reverse that so that you can go all the way across the graph. Now, here's your key. Shading up, shading down, solid line, dotted line. So in this equation, y is less than or equal to, so that means I'm going to have a solid line. That's this one here. So I'll draw a solid line. Oops. And I have a less than or equal to sign, so I'm going to be shading down. So I will be shading below the line. So these are the types of problems you'll be practicing in your study guide. You may use this resource page on the test. You must show all of your work in order to have access to the test. So that means you're going to bring me all of your scratch paper that you use to show me that you are working through these problems on paper when you finish the Delta Math.